my goodness, friends, welcome back. This is Nancy the Handy Scandy, and this is my very last Halloween venture for 2020. It's also my last project for the Till Death Do Us Craft Halloween series, and today we are making this Dia de los Muertos banner that I have hanging there on my mantle. So you can see that I have stamped and heat embossed and fussy cut all of these beautiful Day of the Dead images from Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. The detail in these images, guys, it's just amazing. I wanted so very much to keep the stamping and embossing process in here just because they just kept coming more and more to life with each layer of ink that I put down, and then once I did the heat embossing, oh my gosh, that detail is over the top. But sadly, there just isn't enough time to show you all the entire process because it was literally 4 hours worth of video footage, and I've narrowed it down to about 15 minutes. So unfortunately, that means you have to miss a lot of what's there, or at least a lot of what took place. Let's put it that way. So back to my process. You can see that I'm coloring up this particular image. I'm using my Karen Brush Marker Pros, and I'm getting more and more familiar with them, and I'm really liking them. I use a variety of techniques, as you can see. I don't put the ink down in any one particular way. It just depends on, I want to say that I've given more thought to it than I really have, but it just kind of depends on what I'm feeling in that moment. If I want it more saturated, I use the pen straight to the paper. Yeah, but otherwise it's all about the layering. Put down a little undercoat of color, let it dry, move to a different place, come back, put down more color. And again, if you want it super saturated, at least for me, I put the marker straight to the paper, but you have to be careful because it's super concentrated, and I don't want to say hyperpigmented because I think that's a specific term, but it's very pigmented. It's very concentrated. So again, I start light and I add layers and layers. So with the heat embossing, of course, when you're doing watercolor, the heat embossing makes like wells, and the wet color medium, the wet pigment, stays typically within the confines of those wells. But these particular images are so very detailed that a lot of it just kind of blurs together. So I actually almost didn't even color these up, to be honest, because my pennants are black, as you saw at the beginning, but there's a lot of color between the layers of paper underneath them and then the little rickrack and things that I put around the sides of each of the pennants. And so I almost left the images just black and white, and I thought, nope, you know what, there's just enough white space on these that I can add some of that beautiful Mexican heritage color to it. And that's exactly what I did. So again, I am just using those Brush Marker Pros to add my color, and I'm using the traditional Day of the Dead colors. They represent different things, so I want to make sure that I tell you the right things. Where did it go? So of course, Dia de los Muertos means Day of the Dead, and it's a day of remembrance of our ancestors or other family members who have passed before us. And purple signifies pain, suffering, grief, and mourning. Pink is a color of celebration. White is purity and hope. Orange is the color of the sun. Red is blood and life. Yellow is, it represents death. It's the marigolds are that kind of orangey and yellow, and they symbolize death, but the petals are used to make a trail so that the spirits can find the path to their altars and to the celebration. So I actually tried to make some rosettes, and my thought process was that they would kind of resemble the flowers, because there's a lot of flowers involved in Dia de los Muertos, particularly the marigolds. And my whole rosette process was hyper fail. It was a super big fail. And so I was going to leave some of that process in just to show the truth of crafting, because not everything is a success, and this was a big fail. But again, because of time, I had to cut it out. So, but know that this is probably my third, well, it is my third iteration, because I have all the rickrack and stuff around the edges there. I tried to use the paper that I had cut for my rosettes. I tried to use the paper to trim the sides of the pennants, and that was a fail too. So yeah, this is my third iteration of these pennants. But you can see that I have cut out the circles, and that to me is just kind of representative. It's a bit of a stretch, but representative of the flowers and the different colors. And I've used the Pink Fresh Studios Essential Stitched Scallop Circle dies to cut out these circles. And of course it cuts along the outside and it cuts the inside, and then it has that cute scallop stitched and the little spot detail. And so because it cuts that center out, it's almost like a starburst of sorts, or a sunburst. But I was able to kind of mix and match those to bring some more color onto each pennant. So there, like you see, I've got the yellow outside and then the pink on the inside. And I think this is a green one with spiders. Yep, that's an old Stampin' Up. They call it DSP, Designer Series paper. But I just thought that was kind of fun with the spiders. So yeah, I'm just layering and gluing and using my Amazon foam tape. And again, I don't necessarily have a plan in terms of what gets layered, what gets popped up, what gets glued down directly. It just depends on each particular pennant and what works for that one, because some of the trims are kind of thick, so that means that base circle needs to be lifted up some off of that thick trim. So this guy right here, see him in the top right with he's mostly just pink and green. I think he's my favorite. I really like the way he came out. I put, instead of grays on his skull, because a lot of people use gray to highlight and make shadows on white images. Well, I used the pink on him, and I think it just looks really striking. So I kept this one simple with the black and the green, different shades of green, obviously, you can see that. But I just thought that the black and green was just striking with that green, pink, and black image. I just think everything about this one, I think, is my favorite. The ones that, oh, let me talk about this one real quick. You can see that that's a boo-boo, right? It's got that, it looks like a bite taken out of it. But this is one of those times when you think, oh man, my bad die cutting, I have to trash this. Well, no, because I knew that this was going to go with this particular skull or skeleton, and she's big. So her head is going to cover that bite, and you won't even see that bite mark. So just wait till I get it all glued down, and you can see I'm struggling. My glue bottle is almost empty, but it doesn't take a whole lot of glue. So I don't want to waste it, I want to get every drop so I don't have to spend money on adhesive. I can keep buying more stamps like I need anymore. But yeah, that's a journey through Nancy's brain. So that one almost looks like a target to me. Anyway, here she's about to go down, and you will see it covers that bite mark perfectly. But it looks like she's about to take a bite out of that heart. I want to know the story behind that image. It's a little creepy. I know Day of the Dead is supposed to be more celebratory, but that particular one's a little creepy to me. And one of them I colored up, and she looks like she has some super bad gingivitis going on. If I can find her in all these images, I'll try to point her out to you. It's funny. Again, I'm about story, so I make things up in my head. Sometimes it spills out. So as I make my design, I'm trying to obviously have the papers kind of coordinate with the image as well as with the trim. And then once I get each particular pennant done, I don't want them to have the same color next to each other. So I knew that I wanted to have boy, girl, start with the boy and end with the girl as well, the big images. So there's definite pattern to this, even though it looks pretty random. And for me, that's a lot of planning. Yeah, so we won't go into that again. But I wanted to make sure that, say, I didn't have two pennants that had, a prominence of green, and I didn't want them right next to each other. I wanted something, at least one, to be in between them, one pennant to be in between them. So I think it'll make sense as you see it come together. And I'm almost done, actually. I'm coming up to the end here. So I've had a good time with this. I've had a good time with the Till Death Do Us Craft series. And let me tell you a little bit more about that. So this was for the whole month. There were 8 of us crafters. Mona Toth was able to participate on the 1st and the 31st. And everybody else had a assigned, I say assigned day. They weren't really assigned. We got to choose what day we wanted. But we had a specific day of the week that we were posting. And we used the hashtag Till Death Do Us Craft. But we posted on whatever social medium that we were the most comfortable with. So for me, it's YouTube, Facebook, and IG. I start with YouTube, and then if I remember, I would share a link on IG, Instagram, and Facebook, and that would link people to my videos. Others, like I know Allison Hakila and I think Zofia, I think they typically did blogs, and then they would share the links to their blogs on the other social medium. But we didn't want to kind of stifle, is that the right word, each other by saying it has to be on this particular social media platform, because I'm not a blogger. So if they said it had to be a blog post, well, I wasn't going to be able to do it. So it was kind of our brainchild that it would, we would allow each crafter to post wherever they were most comfortable. So so there were 8 of us, and I believe everybody shared their final project yesterday because it was Halloween. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get mine up, and it was Dia de los Muertos. So so mine just went up today, and it is what it is. But this is the last one, and here I am. We'll jump back to the video real quick. I am putting all of my pennants together with this black and white twine, and this came with the pennants. These pennants I picked up at Tuesday Morning. They're from American Crafts, and if you've never gone to Tuesday Morning looking for crafts, you've been missing out. If you have one near you, I recommend you try to go. I think ours is closing here in Fayetteville. We've had a lot of stores closed due to COVID. But so I've had these for a while. I actually have, this is the larger set. I have a smaller set, and then I have one that's craft with kind of a scallop bottom. So I love pennants and banners and garlands and buntings, and I just love them all. And to be honest, I don't know what I know that there is a difference between all three, but I don't know what it is. But anyway, so these are just solid black, as you can see, and I've added the trim to them, and the black and white twine came with them. And so I'm poking the twine in from the front and running it across the back. So you can see that I glued little pom-poms in between. I didn't want to add ribbons, and I didn't have any colorful pom-poms, and besides, there's a lot going on anyway, but I wanted something to be a visual separation. So I'm sorry that this is so sped up, but I wanted to show you the final product. And again, that's my fave right there. I just think he's a cutie patootie, and I like her too. I like all the glitter in her hair. So I did add some stickles, and I add some Nouveau crystal drops and just some different little gems and things. And this is my final banner, guys. I'm not real pleased with the ones on the end. I just feel like they're a little naked compared to the others, but it is what it is. Next time if I make another one, I'll consider putting something else on those. But here it is, the final product for my last Till Death Do Us craft and my last Halloween Ventures project. And guys, you have been wonderful. You've been so very supportive, and you've stuck with me through this whole thing. And give me some feedback. What would you like to see next? Did you celebrate Halloween? What did you do? Let me know, guys. Thank you so much for all your support, your love, your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, everything, guys. You're the best. Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.